Approximately 4 p.m. on October 3rd, 1984, Christine Jessop, who's a resident of Queensville, vanishes.
The murder of Christine Jessop in Queensville in October of 1984 has captivated many for more than 4 decades, with the investigation pointing towards a falsely accused suspect, Guy Palmerin, and some shoddy police work. Now, that all changed when genetic genealogy was used to crack the case in 2020 with a suspect that was known to the Jessop family all along. And now, for the first time ever, Christine Jessop's entire family is speaking out about the case in a new Crave docuseries, The Christine Jessop Story. It begins streaming on Crave today. Joining us live this morning is Ken Jessop, the brother to the late Christine Jessop. Ken, I really appreciate you joining us and talking about this remarkable docuseries. I watched it all yesterday. It is fascinating. You are so open and honest in this series about not only the guilt you carry, the pain you carry, the trials and tribulations that you felt over the last 4 decades here. How difficult was this for you to kind of go through all of this again? I mean, I'm sure you relive this day after day, but just sitting through this and kind of going through it all, can you talk about how that impacted you?
Well, good morning, Nick. This was almost a cleansing for me. About 3.5 years ago, I got sober with help of my mother. And it was time to relieve myself of the garbage and the guilt and a lot of the things to do with this case, you know, the secrets we've held for decades. And luckily, my mother, about 3 years ago, I told Folklore Chevrier, who produced it and spearheaded this for over a decade, that we needed to get my mother on camera, and it's a good thing we did. And I'm so glad she plays a major part in it. And you know, the truth is now out there.
Yeah,
everybody's heard the chewed up and regurgitated narrative given by this writer and this writer and this writer, but nobody's actually come to us. You know, even when we did interviews and that, we had to toe the party line in case we screwed up the case.
Took great care of it.
Yeah, Ken, I mean, the stories you tell in this documentary, not only about how the police were sort of almost browbeating you and your family, your mom, into sort of rearranging your timeline from the day Christine was abducted to, you know, even you admitting that, you know, you went to the crime scene there and that you didn't yell for help to try to let your mom know whether or not that her screams may have been heard, you know, the night that she was taken. I mean, the buildup of all that is so remarkable. You talk about that cleansing. Was it easier to sort of cleanse yourself, get yourself sober, that kind of thing, because of this genetic genealogy, the breakthrough of the case back in 2020 when we found out who Christine's true killer really was?
Well, when we found out that it was Calvin Hoover, obviously my mother and I were relieved, but what I didn't expect was the anger and the hatred that came along with it. And for a couple of years, I went down a really, really dark path, hurt everybody around me. And my mother was there to give me her hand when I needed a hand up.
Approximately 4 p.m. on October 3rd.
Wow.
And from that point on, it's been a discovery of emotions that I buried for the better part of 40 years. And dealing with the emotions for the first time instead of just drinking and burying them down.
I can't even fathom or imagine what you and your family have gone through, but certainly if you watch this docuseries, you definitely get that better feeling. Of course, we'll never feel it like you did. What are you hoping, Ken, that people learn and understand from this docuseries, because it is so remarkably thorough?
What I want mainly is because when we went to the inquiry and testified at the inquiry, it was a whitewash. You know, Fitzpatrick and Shepard, the main detectives through all of it, they met with my mother the Friday before the inquiry started, and the last thing they said to us is, "This is probably the last time we're going to talk to you." And I got on the phone with Tim Danson, our lawyer, and I said, "They're going to crucify us." because my mother was like, "Oh no, we'll talk. Nothing will affect our relationship." And you get to
it was weird.
find out that they did. They crucified my mother and I at the inquiry. Everything was Janet's fault because she called Moran an odd type guy.
Sometimes you're in a hurry.
And meanwhile, how that came about was the police asked my mother for 5 names of odd or different people, and Guy Paul wasn't even the first on the list.
Yeah.
But they talked to him later that afternoon, got their antennas put in on him, and Tunnel Vision took over. And they created a case. They knew he was innocent after the first trial. The evidence was there.
Yeah. Yep, he was railroaded, and then there was a second trial and everything that went on. I mean, the story is just so intense, and it's, the twists and turns, Ken, here are remarkable throughout this. There's this term, journalists always ask this question about closure, and I don't think closure is ever possible. Do you feel any closer to feeling like, I don't want to use the term closure, but how do you feel now? I mean, you put this together. The world can now see the truth, the story, the twists and turns. It's all out in the open now. How does that make you feel? I know your mom's not here anymore, but how do you think she would feel, seeing all of this?
I think it's better that she didn't see all this. She knew it was coming, hopefully, at some point. But as far as closure goes, it did. It closed. When I filmed this last fall, I walked away a lot lighter emotionally. It got rid of the garbage. You try and deal. I'd never dealt with a lot of the things. And the things that came up and memories, it was very good for my healing process. And even in the last couple of weeks, it's been weird because with it coming to air, I've been feeling kind of lost, and I haven't been able to figure out what it was. And I kind of figured it out talking to a friend last night. It's that I've never looked forward. For the last 40 years, I've been looking back. And now that, everything's done, we spent 36 years wondering who did it. And now we spent over a decade trying to get this made. And now that this is made, now it's like, I just kind of, I can't even explain. It's just, I'm not depressed. I'm not happy. It's a new world for me because I've never felt this before, because I've always had alcohol to bury my emotions, and now it's a brand new day.
Well, Ken, it is a day you deserve and a new world that I certainly hope you enjoy. Ken Jessop, the brother, of course, the late Christine Jessop. Ken, thank you for your time, your honesty in Canada this morning. I do appreciate this so much.
You're welcome. And no matter what you think you know about this case, I learned things during this that shocked me.
Yeah.
I thought I knew it all.
Yeah, it is remarkably enlightening. And Ken, you play such a pivotal role. My hat's off to you. So again, thank you so much. Again, this starts streaming on Crave tonight. Crave, of course, is owned by Bell Media, which owns CP24. Ken Jessop, thank you for your time this morning. Do appreciate this.
Thank you very much, Nick.